Hello there, little traveler. You found me? It's not often I have visitors this deep in the woods. Come closer. Don't be shy. I've been standing here for a very, very long time, watching the seasons turn and the forest grow around me. My roots run deep into the earth, and my branches reach for the sky, providing a home for countless birds and squirrels. I've felt the sun, the rain, and the snow for hundreds of years. Each ring within my trunk tells a story, a memory of a time long past. But all this talking has made an old tree quite sleepy. They will teach you all you need to know about me. Good night for now.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another excellent video today. I'm in a park here in Tokyo, Japan, and I wanted to do something a little bit different today. Today's class is not only going to be an English class, but there's going to be a little bit of biology too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the parts of a tree, because there are many parts, and a lot of the words that we use when we talk about trees, shrubs, plants, a lot of these words we use in other parts of English. So it could be the reference to a body part on the human body, or sometimes these words just exist in a different form, in a different way, and I think it's really cool to talk about them. So I'm going to take you through step by step. We're going to start at the bottom of the tree and work our way up to the top. And I'm going to give you as many references as I can in how you would use these words in part of a tree, also in other parts of life. All right, let's get going. So as you can see here, we have this part of the tree that actually runs down into the ground. It anchors the tree. It keeps the tree very stable. It's where the tree will pull its water, its nutrients, and everything that it needs to grow nice and big and strong like this guy. So, do you know what this is called? Anyone? Raise your hand. This is the root of the tree. The root. So, we do have other references in life. You may hear somebody say, we need to get to the root of the problem. And so in a way, you can kind of see a relationship between the two, all right? So a root is something deep that holds the tree down, that keeps it together. And also the root of the problem is looking for the deep reason that something has happened, all right? Not to be confused with route, meaning the pathway that you take. So right here, you know, we have a path, we've got some people walking along it. You could say that that's a route as well, but that's spelled differently. I'll pop that up on the screen so you can see the difference between the two, but also the same sound, root. So next we're going to focus on the trunk, this part, the main base, the core of the tree. And we have many references in English that all mean different things. So as far as the tree goes, this is the trunk, all right? We also have a trunk, which is like a box that people might make. And these boxes, we put things inside of them. And what I'm thinking where you could make a connection is a trunk is often made of wood, and it's probably made from the base of a tree. So it's not going to be made from these branches. The wood is going to come from the trunk of the tree. So if you want to remember like a small box that you would open, put things inside, that would be a trunk, all right? And then you have the trunk of an elephant. You know, that big thing that sways out in front of them that they pick things up with. Also the trunk. Probably no reference to a tree, but it is called a trunk, and it's spelled the exact same way. And then you also have on the human body, you have the trunk. So the trunk of the body is the main part of our body, all right? And sometimes reference to that, you might hear it in a hospital, or you might hear somebody just casually say it. Yeah, so we call that the trunk or our core of our body. So next up we have what's called a limb. No, this isn't really a branch. This is a limb. And I'm going to explain to you why it's not a branch. And I'll show you a branch after. But this is the limb of the tree. And you can see they're pretty big. Not as big as the trunk, what we have here, but this is the limb. All right. So we can make reference in the human body. This would be my limb. All right. So it could be my leg or it could be my arm. So you can see the relationship, my trunk, my core part of my body, and these are my limbs, my legs and arms. All right. We do have a couple of phrases. So one that I can think of right now is to go out on a limb. So you can imagine if you walked out onto a tree limb and you were sitting out on the edge of it or on the end of it, pretty risky, right? A pretty risky thing to do. So out on a limb literally means that you're doing something that's risky. So you're climbing out on that limb, you're sitting on the end of it, and it could break and fall, and you could fall down and hurt yourself. All right? And that's about it. There's just a relationship between the limb on a tree and our limbs on our body. Okay? Okay, now we have what we call a branch. All right? Here it is here. And that actually comes off of the limb. So you can see it there where it attaches. And this is what we call a branch. You'll hear this a lot. Lots of people refer to things on trees as branches. And off the branch we have something else that I'll tell you in a minute. So let's talk about a branch and the different ways that we can use it. Okay, branch is a little bit confusing because we have a noun that's called a branch, spelt the exact same way. We pronounce it the same way. Branch as in a branch of a bank, a branch of a company. Okay, very, very common in English. It's a noun. And we also have branch as a verb. And it's not a very common verb. So don't worry if you've never heard it before. We would have branched, branch, and branching, or branches. And what it means is to actually go in different directions. So for example, if my friend said, oh, we were kayaking and somebody said, oh, where did Joe go? Oh, he branched off down another river. So if you think of a tree and the branches and how they split apart, the verb action part in English of branching is to actually divide and go in different ways, just like a branch does on a tree. So if you want to remember that verb and what it means and how to use it, think of a tree and a tree branch and how it splits off in different directions. All right? Yeah. That's a complicated one, but very, very useful. All right, so what have we got here? And don't worry, I found this on the ground. I didn't break it off the tree. This is referred to as either a stem or a twig. A twig is usually in reference to this, exactly this. This fell off, it's on the ground, it's dead, it's dried out. And maybe you're making a campfire and somebody says, oh, go get some twigs. Twigs are really good when you first start a campfire. They're dry, they're small, they're easy to catch on fire. And so people will refer to them as a twig. A stem is usually in reference to it being alive. So if this was actually still on the tree, this is what would come off the branch, would be the stem. And if we have a plant in the ground that's planted like this, the trunk part of the tree is what you can see in front of me, but for a plant, it's actually called the stem and not the trunk. Even though it's still the main part of the plant, we call it the stem. All right, I can show you here. Yeah, here's a picture or a video of a plant, and that part would be the stem. Okay, so we do use the word stem as a verb, and it's a little difficult to describe. It's almost similar to root. Why? Because the stem of a plant will have roots, but the stem is the core, the strength of it. So we have stem, stemmed, and stemming. So I might say to somebody, where is this problem stemming from? What I mean is, where is it coming from? So the stem of the problem is the root of the problem. Where did it come from? So root and stem have some relationship in English for sure when we use it as an action. All right. And of course, you guys, I think, know the leaves, the bud. The bud is what happens off of the stem. The leaves are what form afterwards, or the flower, right? We do have leave, as in he left, he's gonna go somewhere, he's not there anymore. And that would be very similar to leaves, is the plural form of leaf. All right, so they're spelt the same. So leaves on a tree, or he leaves for work every morning at 10 a.m. The spelling is the same, they sound the same, so it can be very confusing that way. All right, bud is the part that starts before the leaf forms, or the flower. Bud is a slang form for a friend. Hey, this is my bud. So it could be used in that way too, and so there's some similarities as well with that. So trees and us people in English, there's a lot of references that go back and forth with everything. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed today's English/biology class, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.